Okay, here we are back with the Digital Art for Climate series, the new appointment and the new guest. So first of all, I really thank you, Christina Lucrezia Corner from Cointelegraph to be here, and I warmly greet her. So Christina, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure, Domenico. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So we have today two Italians on on the same call. I don't know if it's a normal thing for your webinars, but happy to have this Italian presence here representing Italy and the world.
Thank you, Christina. Yes, you are right, because also Christina is one of the partners, she was representing one of the partners of the Digital Art for Climate Partnership, especially, as I say, Cointelegraph. And the topic of today that we will address together with her is the decentralized community in service of climate action. So now I'll stop to share my screen and I'll give the floor to Christina, first of all, to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about you, what you're doing, and also the topic of today.
Thank you very much, Domenico. Yes, just a few words about my publication, Cointelegraph, of which I'm honored to be editor-in-chief. It's the oldest and one of the biggest publications about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. We were founded in 2013, so we'll celebrate 10 years next year. And being platform, the voice for the community, for the blockchain community, decentralized community, fintech community, cryptocurrencies communities. We are also considering our mission to promote green projects within the industry and also facilitate dialogue between these two big communities that are not separate, but they're overlapping, but not 100%. So there is blockchain community and there is climate action community. This mission brought us also to the media partnership with DigitalArt4Climate. We are happy and honored to be part of this initiative, offering our platform for the project and its participants. And in general, I think it's very important to talk about mutual education between climate action and everything that is surrounding climate initiatives, Paris Agreement, SDGs, etc. Because this is still, in my opinion, me being part of this climate action group for a long time, because my second master degree is in political science and environmental science. So I've been working as a fellow researcher at Energy Policy Center at the European University in St. Petersburg. And this has been my interest for years. But as far as I see, tech communities still lack knowledge about climate change and about climate action. And it's very important in order to engage more and more actors to the climate action. It's more and more important to educate about climate and what has been done in this regard. And the country, it's really a great new potential that has opened along with the introduction of blockchain to the global financial system. But we still see that it's pretty closed community, and we need to educate masses and also those who are working on climate action to see the potential of blockchain for climate action. So this is my main thesis for today. Happy to delve into this together with you. Happy also to answer your questions, comments, and objectives.
Thank you, Christina. I mean, your story is super interesting. You run from energy to environment, blockchain, and actually, I'm really sure that you are the right person to talk about the potential of the blockchain, especially also in the environmental field. Now in this Digital for Climate series, we are trying to go a little bit in deep into this new word, innovative word of blockchain. We addressed also the NFTs, and also to connect with digital art and climate action. And yeah, maybe sometimes there could be some prejudice about the fact that there cannot be connection, no? So sometimes also in the tech world, I belong also similarly to you. I'm a informatician as a background, but I work in the climate environment. So I feel this sort of, I don't know, distance that in the end is not correct, because there are several points of connection. And especially maybe I want to address with you the concept of decentralization. What does it mean and how it is connected with the blockchain, you can say?
Hmm. Thank you for the question. Decentralization definitely is the main concept and value that is brought by the blockchain technology. And this is the cornerstone on all the applications of blockchain, including cryptocurrencies. Decentralization means that there is no centralized power that is controlling a database or a chain of financial transactions. It means that the whole network is the owner of all the information inside this network, this chain of small items. And this also can be applied to climate action in different regards. And I think that climate community should understand this concept of decentralization more than anyone else from the philosophical point of view. I'm not talking about technical point of view. It's blockchain developers whose work this is to implement this decentralization technically to the communities, projects, and initiatives. But I think it's very important to reflect on it from the philosophical, social, political perspective. Decentralization is a way to solve issues that are not potentially solvable within a system of sovereign centralized powers. And in my opinion, personal opinion, the climate action has lacked this approach where a power of decentralized community can be brought into the avant-garde of climate action. We are still depending on decisions of governments, of heads of states. We see that heads of states have some other priorities. And I would like here to quote UNFCCC secretary with whom I had a chance to talk yesterday in the frame of a wonderful new course launched by United Nations System Staff College about Paris Agreement, about climate change and development, that we do not have time for wars. We have other priorities. And this is a fundamental problem. And I think that the only way to solve it is to think of climate change and climate action as a decentralized community, where every one of us can get engaged and bring something, some value, without any dependency on where we are, which nation do we represent, which business are we working in. Engage our efforts all together. No time for wars.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christina, first of all, for the message that underneath your words, but also on the philosophical concept you addressed. And I'm amazed on that. You know that in Hubs, our motto is sharing knowledge. So this concept of not having a honing of a power, of an asset, and so on, is something that is maybe completely new to the community, but is innovative in a way. And I completely agree also on the fact that this is a point of connection, for example, with the climate action. Yeah, I will just make a brief point on that. The scientific community is telling us that the climate problem is a complex problem. And I guess that no one or just alone can solve, but only with like with the collaboration and like coordination of decentralized units is possible eventually to address. But how do you think we can overcome these barriers, for example, on understanding, for example, how to coordinate with citizen organization, with NGOs and so on. So which are like the main threats and challenges that we have to face on that?
That's a very great question, and I guess I will quote yourself. So education, share knowledge. Education is key, and unfortunately, based on my personal experience, I've seen that climate change is not considered, a fashionable topic for everyone. We could also see that at COPs and conferences of parties. You do not see a lot of big tech companies, rich companies, like those who are working with our data and who actually have this power to influence very, very large people in terms of one country or globally. Services like Google, Amazon, I don't know, Uber. These are those who are influencing now the masses. And yes, of course, they have some green initiatives, but and ones are more successful than the others. But I have a feeling that is still on the global scale. It's still a way to show off that here we are doing some great job also in this regard, but it doesn't engage the whole community. And those who do want to disregard, I don't know, Google's dedicated page on climate change could freely do that. There is no they're not forced to be engaged in the climate action. That is what I'm trying to say. And this is a fundamental problem of global engagement. We are still talking about small groups of initiative people who want to bring their knowledge and engage more and more communities, but it's not the topic that is occupying minds as it should be. How to solve it? Well, I guess the only way to do it is to try to divulge the knowledge, share it, educate people, use different platforms. We are actually trying to do that in Cointelegraph as well. There are people who prefer to read. There are those who prefer to watch videos, those who like graphs and cartoons, those who listen to podcasts or just watch pictures. And it's fine. We are all different. And it's very important to find different languages to talk with different backgrounds, different people with different languages, different professions, etc. And actually, in my opinion, DigitalArt4Climate is a great example of working with the universal language of art in order to bring more sensibility and mindfulness to topics that are important for every one of us.
Yeah, thank you. You anticipated me. I was saying that art is a common way to communicate, a common language that also this initiative want to foster on. But I have a curiosity. You tell me about a little bit about your background and your story. So you pass from energy to blockchain. So how these topics are in a way connected? There are connection. I don't know.
That's a tricky question. Thank you, Domenico. Well, I'm actually, my first master degree was in ancient Greek theater in order to complicate things more. So I'm a philologist. I've been studying theater a lot. Then from theater, I moved toward politics because in my opinion, politics is maybe the most intense theater nowadays. And then from politics, I moved to some important for me, issues like climate change, and started working with different innovative circles. First, only energy efficiency and green technologies, and then logically it brought me at some point, having worked with the AI, big data, other big tech, I brought myself to learning of blockchain technologies, and it became a first just a hobby, and then very quickly it became a profession, because I found myself helping Cointelegraph with bringing their editorial team to the level of quality, classical, traditional, ethical journalists. Because I worked before in journalism a lot, and several years ago it was actually an issue. Find journalists who would know both about journalism and about crypto was basically impossible. So you had to choose either to educate journalists about blockchain and crypto, or educate crypto nerds about journalism. We tried to do both, and it was an interesting process, and some wonderful journalists got born from this workflow. Now there are a lot of people who are professionally engaged as journalists, reporters in the blockchain industry. Now we're trying to do the same with bringing together climate education and blockchain education and journalism.
Great. Thank you also for this parallel. Is tricky as well, and I think that also bringing your experience on matching the two different sides together can be an added value also for the DigitalArt4Climate initiative. Before going to the last question, I want to ask you a little bit about Cointelegraph and also the role of Cointelegraph into digital art. There is a question from our audience that I will report to you. And there is Samuel Alureke here with us, and he's asking to share your experience on the future on NFTs networks and yeah, all the related stuff. So if you have something to share about it.
Well, I would like maybe to frame it within what we've been talking before, decentralization in general. NFTs, of course, are a great tool to actually not getting lost in this ecosystem. NFT is your ticket to certificate that you are the owner of something that has a value. So of course, I see a great potential in developing NFTs networks from the technical point of view, but also from the community point of view. NFTs as a token owned by a project idea or a community would allow us, again, not to depend on a centralized power in issuing or blocking, I don't know, our concert tickets or our tickets to a webinar, or our ownership of an art piece, digital art piece, and to have this traceable and immutable registration of our ownership on blockchain.
Thank you, Christina, also for clarifying the importance of the role of NFTs. One of the mission of this webinar is properly to educate and create the culture on this new technology, and you explained very well what the meaning really of NFTs. Yeah, so thank you also, Samuel, for the question.
Thank you, Samuel.
And yeah, I will now go into the few last question about Cointelegraph, the organization which you are working on, and eventually also the role into the DigitalArt4Climate initiative.
Well, we are a niche publication that is considering its mission to be the voice for the blockchain community. we are definitely trying. We are biased because we believe in this technology, and we want to bring more and more blockchain adoption to the world. That's why we are definitely trying to educate about positive things while mentioning negative things in a way that that have potential to be solved, because every issue can be solved. Why I'm mentioning this? Because there have been a lot of talks about this issue with Bitcoin mining. It is true that it's not that green in terms of its impact on the overall environmental situation, but I see the potential and the will of the community to develop greener solutions. Even with the Bitcoin network, right now we have around half of all the mining pools that operate with renewable energy. That is important. Again, we can call a glass half full or half empty. So we can talk about traditional fuels that bring energy for 50% of Bitcoin mining, or renewable energy that operates with the other 50%. I think it's very important to highlight positive developments. There are other blockchains who are experimenting with the other more ecological ways of proof of stake. That is a way to avoid this big energy consumption that goes with the smart contracts based on proof of work. So this is fundamental. And I think educating through media definitely brings this vision of the industry that is not only about those who want to get rich with Bitcoin or buy a Lamborghini. It's not about that at all. So we are trying to bring different relatable stories that talk about people who try to solve real issues in this world to make it better, and who are very ambitious. That is actually what I was also intending to say in the frame of this decentralized community in the service of climate action. I think that blockchain community has an enormous potential, because they are basically young, very ambitious people who maybe lack knowledge about traditional business making. But in my opinion, it's maybe even an advantage, because instead of thinking of any business project in terms of bureaucracy, protocols, spending hours and days and months on negotiating something, they are very quick. They want to get engaged as soon as possible. Instead of how we could do that, they are talking about, let's do it now. And this is something that, in my opinion, climate action needs badly.
I totally agree on your last words. And I think that this huge freshness, we can say, is something that we have to foster. And DigitalArt4Climate want properly to do that. And that's why it's addressing properly to youth communities and youth climate activists. And properly talking about that, we have here with us in our call, like the founder of this initiative that is the DigitalArt4Climate. There is Miroslav Polcer from Gloccia. I don't know, Miro, if you want to add a few words on the discussion. Very glad.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure seeing you. Great, thank you for organizing the event, to Domenico Habzin, DigitalArt4Climate partner since the early days of the initiative, and Christina, who is really such a passionate and knowledgeable blockchain expert and building bridges to the climate community. It's really wonderful to have you as a partner of the initiative and of the blockchain for climate movement in general. And just would like to express my appreciation for the work that you're doing, the thoughts that you have shared, and also telling everyone that there can be found more information about the initiative DigitalArt4Climate by using the hashtag Digital Art for Climate, and that we have been with Christina and other partners, especially Unique Network, NFT platform, and Exquisite Workers, our creative partners. We've been at the United Nations Climate Conference, and we've been at the Middle East and North Africa Regional Climate Week in Dubai in March. And we see that there's really a huge potential in this approach, as has been said by Christina, that this kind of communication, this resonates. There are many people who appreciate to be approached through visual communication, and that this one image tells more than thousands of words, and we really can get the broader public by using art in general and visual art. And what I personally also love very much is music, which will be a part of the initiative, the next round of the initiative, which we will start pre-launch in Bonn during the intersessional event of the UNFCCC conference on the 10th of June. We will have our events there, press conference and side event. Yeah, just wanted to say. And then there will be the second dimension of this initiative is resource mobilization for youth climate action empowerment. Stay tuned. There will be an auction in June of this initial collection of 30 artworks from COP26, certainly the most famous UN-associated NFT initiative worldwide. And yeah, onwards. The world needs us to be successful.
Thank you, Miro, for your enthusiasm and also for the important updates. Take notes about all the events that Miro has said and also that we foster on. Let's follow on our channels, of course. Before closing, now we are finishing our session. I want to give the floor to one of that. Christina was mentioning about young guys that are very entrepreneurial in a way. And there is in our call also Samuel Adunreke from Innovea Hubs. I don't know, Samuel, if you want to take the floor and say a few words. Very glad if you can intervene.
Yeah, thank you, Domenico. It's really, really nice joining here. And of course, I actually intended to join for a brief moment, but I got deep into the discussion and the conversation got interesting. Yes, definitely. There are a lot of works we've been doing with the UNEP Digital Transformation Unit in Geneva, and particularly in with the Coalition for Digital and Environmental Sustainability. And of course, there's a lot of organizations coming together, forming coalitions on how to apply digital technologies, digital arts in making a change, system change, transformational change, organizational change through digital solutions, and particularly some new introductions of simple and interesting blockchain technologies, for instance. And yeah, the coalition also would actually be lightening up some conversations and the presentation of the Secretary General's roadmap to digital transformation at the oncoming Stockholm's conference. And yeah, it's really going to be interesting. And I personally will be there in person to work on the presentation, and as media partners also for the coalition. I think there's a lot of resources to share on mobilization. However, if there are any interesting projects that are available needing collaboration, we're always available. Let's form this coalition and network. And particularly on what Christina said, it's quite interesting. And I just reached out to Miroslav on LinkedIn, and I hope to get connected soon. So we'll be having our preparatory dialogue for the Stockholm's 50 events on the 21st of May, and we hope to have you around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel, and thank you to all. Thank you to Christina. That it's been super amazing. Really, I'm amazed from your words. Thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you,
Thank you
Domenico, so much.
thank you to
Oui,
Miroslav
ça va?
for being here. Thank you to Charles. Hi, Charles. Welcome to the call. We are on finishing. Charles is another entrepreneurial guy from
Hello?
Africa. So thank you for joining. We are on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
closing. We are on
Yeah,
closing. So
okay.
if you want to make a brief intervention, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Vinto. I don't know what, please
It's
remind me, I don't know.
digital art.
Please.
We are talking about digital art and
Okay,
blockchain.
okay. Thank you very much for the participant. I beg you, we are in a many events here. So I want to recognize your strength, your devotion, and thank you for all the participants. And God bless all of you. Thank you, Vinto.
Thank you, Charles. Just a quick introduction. Charles now is in Abidjan, where another important event is happening. That is the COP15 for the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. So thank you for joining all, and thank you and let's see on the next appointment of Digital Art for Climate Series, where we know another guest from the Digital Art for Climate Legacy. Bye to all. Bye bye.
Thank you.